Hello and welcome to Ask the Icon, a live web series first of its kind in India, designed exclusively for working professionals. The host Kaushik Majumder, author and workplace challenge consultant. Impact of the pandemic all over the world has pushed us into a situation which is unprecedented. Uncertainties and frustration all around. Now, if you are a working professional, I'm sure you'll be having, you are a worried person today, you'll be having a lot of questions with very little clarity. You are looking for specific solution to a specific challenge. That's exactly what we intend to achieve on every episode of Ask the Icon. The idea behind Ask the Icon is to make a difference in the lives of working professionals by helping them with specific solutions to their challenges. And specific solutions calls for specialized skills, specialized knowledge and experience. On every episode of Ask the Icon, a guest icon, one of the stalwarts from the corporate world, joins us live on Facebook and addresses your specific questions that you post on my social networking accounts. And these questions are specific to the challenges or concerns that you, the working professionals, face at your workplaces. So without further delay, I would like to introduce you to our today's guest icon. Our today's guest is very special. Yes, a PhD in sustainable human development. Our today's guest joined NDA at the age of 16, National Defense Academy, and served the Indian Army for 20 years. So after having retired from the Army, he started his corporate journey as an HR executive. In his 17 years of corporate journey, he has worked with industry leaders like L&T, Reliance, HCL, and also Tata Groups. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce you to our today's guest, a remarkable leader, a widely respected influencer, and a wonderful human being, Dr. Sanjay Verma. So thank you very much, Dr. Verma, for joining us today on the 7th episode of Ask the Icon. We are privileged to have you, and I'm sure all the viewers are eager to listen to you. So over to you for your opening comments, please, Dr. Verma.
Thank you, Mr. Kaushik, and all other participants who have joined in. It's really a privilege to interact with you during COVID times. And Kaushik has given a fantastic platform for us to interact. So I look forward to the questions being asked, and I'll endeavor to give my response. It's going to be an interactive session, and we look forward to more future interactions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Over to you.
Verma. Yeah. Thank you very much. So before we move on to the question answer session, those of you who have not read my book, The Process Pro, it's a 360-degree perspective on corporate processes and systems. For the book, I have interviewed 35 smartest minds of our country and incorporated their views in it. So Dr. Verma was kind to share his invaluable inputs, invaluable views on those topic, process and systems in corporates for the readers, and made the book a must read. So if you have not ordered or read it yet, read The Process Pro yet, you can order your copy on Amazon once the lockdown is over. So Dr. Verma, on this show, I would ask you questions that are posted by the viewers who are working professionals on my, they have posted those questions on my social networking accounts. So do I have your permission to proceed with Ask the Icon?
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Thank you very much. So the questions, as I mentioned, has come from the working professionals, and I'm going to start with the first question, which is from Stephen David, and he's not an Indian national. So he asked this question, which is very, very nice question, very good question. The question is, why is job security so important to Indians while applying for a job, which is not the case in developed countries in the world, including China? You're over to you, Dr. Verma.
Okay, I agree with the statement. For Indians, when they apply for a job or when they join a company, job security is utmost important. Yeah. Unlike our counterparts in China, who look for salary, and our counterparts in Japan, who look for challenges. Now, why it is so? Well, let's look at a developed country like US, and let's look at current COVID times. They have a good mechanism to support employees. Today in COVID, US government is able to pay salaries to the people who have lost jobs, and the people who have lesser money or lesser income, even they get paid. But a developing country like ours, India, can it take care of the employees who have lost jobs? No. Yes, it is trying to help the lower strata of people, the labor class, the maids, the people, the drivers, because that's what is the affordability of the country.
Yeah.
It's a developing country. Second, in our family system, the parents have always taken care of the children. And when parents grow up and when they become old, the children take care of the parents. So the children find it important to have stable jobs so that they can look after the family. Every youngster is aligned to the joint family system. And he takes the responsibility for the parents, for the family, he aligns to it, and he feels important. Third is we are a huge population, 135 crores,
Yeah.
right? And in this kind of a population, large number of engineers, doctors, MBAs are getting churned out from various colleges. Are there so many jobs? No. So there's a lot of competition, and the competition brings job insecurity.
Right.
That's the reason people are looking for jobs. Another factor which comes to our mind is the culture. I go back to 80s when I had a choice to join a private job or a government job.
Yeah.
And my parents influenced that go for a government job. It gives you a job security.
Yeah.
And that's the reason, as a part of the culture, right from 80s, I have always seen Indians prefer a government job because it's more secure.
Yeah.
Why they prefer is a culture. And even today, when you have a government job getting announced, you have number of applicants are much more vis-a-vis a private job. So that is something I wanted to share.
Yeah, true. So, but do you see it's the same? I mean, so when at your time, government jobs were the sought after, do you believe that it's things have changed, or you think it's basically it's still the same?
Yeah, so there are more takers for the private jobs. That point of time, the preference was for a government job.
Right.
Or things like railways, civil services.
True.
Today, people, the brain does get into the private corporate sectors because of higher salaries, benefits, perks, etc. And maybe the higher and better growth rates.
So the second question, which has come from Arti Hilaher. Pardon me if I've got the surname wrong. So Arti's question is, how to deal with the job crisis in this pandemic? How to deal with job crisis in this pandemic?
So my response to Arti will be, first, we need to have patience. This pandemic is not going to be permanent. It's a short phase. It's a downturn of the curve. 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years, what is the period? Industry is going to be on track. So the people who have lost jobs, they will get an opportunity to get back to the jobs. Jobs will be created. How do we handle this? Perhaps by upskilling ourselves. Kaushik, I'm reminded of 2008 period, which I have seen a similar situation and a global downtrend. So there's a company called General Motors in US. They stopped production. They asked employees to go back to home and perhaps gave them, I think, a 2-month salary or something. And they said, when we open the plant, we'll call you back. But there was a Japanese company, Toyota. What Toyota did, that they started training employees, preparing them for production a year or a year plus from then. So by the time that employees got upskilled and they were ready, and the downturn came on the positive side, Toyota was able to produce when General Motors were recruiting or looking for candidates. That is how Toyota became number one
Yeah.
car maker in US. So that is something for us to learn. Even the organizations need to learn that this is the time for upskilling, reskilling, and looking for a futuristic skill which is required for the employees. Now, you have seen the Make in India initiative of the government of India. It gives a good opportunity for anyone not in a job or facing a job crisis to turn into an entrepreneur and create opportunity. It'll be good when you can create opportunity and give jobs instead of running around for a job. I want to share with you, once I was taking a session in Wellington for the MBA students, and during a tea break, I met a whole lot of them, and majority of them brought out that instead of looking for a job, they were looking at becoming entrepreneurs. So somebody had got into a catering business, somebody had got into a laundry. So it could be any kind of a business, but the people were looking forward to creating jobs and being their own boss. So that's an option today for most of us.
Right, right. The third question is from Rajneesh J. Now the question is specifically to you because you have come from an army background, and as a military man, the question is, as a military man, what do you think two greatest traits that the professionals from the corporate world, what are the two greatest traits that could be picked up by the professionals from the corporate world, from the army, and vice versa? What are the two traits from the army personnel can pick up from the corporate employees?
Right. So based on my 20 years of experience in army and about 17 in corporate, the two qualities this flashes across is discipline and trust. So when you talk about discipline, it is the way you work, the way you listen to instructions, the way you follow norms, the way you comply with the instructions. Things like punctuality. It'll be absolutely relevant for corporates, where at times these are lacking. Meetings do not start in time.
Right.
And this will be something which is quite good if corporate pick it up. And second, as I said, trust. Now, what is trust? Trust is when a subordinate is willing to give his life based on the instructions or the orders of his superior. Right. So he has that kind of a trust in his superior that whatever my superior is telling, I need to obey. He doesn't question him. Imagine if the corporate picks up in a team scenario, while healthy discussion is fine, but it gives a good productivity of the team, and the leader will get much more respected by the subordinates. And overall, it's a good synergy and good functioning. Yeah. So I feel these two can be picked up by the corporates, and it will help to the help them in improved productivity. Now, when you look at what Army could pick up from corporate, perhaps two factors which come to my mind is shared leadership and delegation of authority. When you talk about the concept of shared leadership, it is your freedom to express views, exchange ideas, criticize, healthy criticism you talk about, and ultimately reach a conclusion together. In our army, being a hierarchy in organization, less of dialogue, and we have more of monologue. So that is something that could be picked up, right? And of course, delegation of authority, which is very, very important. So in a corporate, when a person is assigned a job, he is given a total freedom to execute. There will be review mechanism, but he has an authority and he has a responsibility.
Right.
So this will be absolutely relevant, and in army scenario, the interference from the top will stop.
But tell me one thing: would you like that? Would you prefer your subordinates in army sort of expecting you to have a discussion before you take a call, or sort of having a consensus before going for a major operation or something of that kind? Because would that be ever possible in an environment like in an army environment?
Yeah. So when we have in army something called SAN model discussion. You prepare the enemy territory through a SAN model, or it can be on a chart, or it can be anywhere. So when you energize young minds, you do get some fantastic solutions.
Okay.
Let's say enemy post has to be approached. You may have thought about one action. Somebody may think about something else. Something what you feel is not workable, but others may find it workable. So a healthy discussion can definitely help a team reaching a good conclusive decision.
Okay. Okay. So that's interesting perspective. And only person like you who have seen the both side of the world and for a significant amount of time can come up with such points. The fourth question is from Ashlesha Vomik. Her question is, what are the two skills a person must possess before entering into a corporate space? What are the two skills?
Okay. So I like to tell to my young friends that when they are wanting to enter corporate, the most important skill will be adaptability, a preparedness for a change, because what is going to be different is a different environment, different people, different way of working. Everything is going to be different in a different structure. So if you're a college graduate, or let's say you're an engineer, the way you have lived a life and the way you're going to live a life is there going to be a phenomenal change. So campus to corporate journey is going to be a journey of change. And the earlier a person adapts to it, the better he is.
Yeah.
Second important factor which comes to my mind is communication. You have to be assertive, you have to be transparent, you have to voice your opinion, and right communication to right time to right person gives you right dividend.
Right.
So with a communication, I can talk about KISS. All my young friends are familiar with KISS. Anyone who is not, I can help him to know that. And it is keep it short and simple.
Yeah.
So apart from the KISS principle, it is the principle of ABC: accuracy, brevity, and clarity. Have a clear communication, have a brief communication, have an accurate communication. Coupled with this, right attitude when you enter a corporate is always going to be beneficial for your career and for your growth.
Yeah. So when you say, if I may just add a quick rejoinder with the question, when you say adaptability, for a college pass out, what do you suggest that how does he or she know? I mean, of course, people think that they can do anything unless they are tested by the situations, right? So how do you think they will be knowing that they'll be able to adapt to the situations? Because most of the time people join, after that they get frustrated. They see that the job they thought of something turned out to be quite the other. So how do you see that concern can be handled before actually somebody joins his profession or?
Okay, so
Just, yeah.
First question, we talked about job security. How important a job is to the person will dictate that. If the job is important, a person will like to adapt. Right? And he like to follow the norms. Second is how interested, how passionate he is about his job.
Yeah.
How passionate about his career. Is it a career of his choice? And then what he is picked up from his family, his value system. All these are going to help him in shaping up a career in the corporate. Because when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do is the basic philosophy, and we all need to abide by it. So he cannot have the college way of doing while working in a corporate. He has to have the corporate way of working.
True.
Right.
True. So, okay. The next question we have received from Naveen Parav. And the question is, in our organization, we are not supposed to, and I had this question as well in my mind, that in our organization, we are not supposed to disclose our salary to our peers. Now, however, everyone here knows everybody's salary. Okay. So why do you think organizations have such policies? And I have been part of this kind of organizations where I was not supposed to discuss salaries, but it's just open secret that everybody knows everybody's salary. So why do you think that organizations have such policies, non-disclosure policies, which anyway is not going to be kept? Please,
Right.
what you?
So firstly, I am not in agreement that everybody may know everybody's salary.
Right.
It may happen within a segment. Like you have a lot of young engineers who join in, they become younger, a lot of employees, they may share it. But if you look at any organization, right from the CEO downward to the bottommost ladder, does everybody know the salary? Perhaps no. Bosses may know for subordinates, but subordinate knowing for bosses, it depends. So if you know it, you're going to really have heartburn. Reason being, you will always feel you are getting paid less and others are getting paid more. What is going to lead to? Lack of morale, demotivation. Your productivity gets affected. Team productivity will get affected. It will lead to conflict. So why the organizations have this policy is just to maintain a balance within team. You are familiar that there is going to be differential payouts based on your performance, based on your evaluation. You have a subjective evaluation. You have an appraisal system. So how can everyone be paid same? And there has been an experiment by college professors wherein, when they gave similar marks to everyone, the performance of the class stopped studying and ultimately the class failed. So that's the reason there is bound to be a differential payout and the policy has to be there. Any violation, I feel, my personal opinion, I relate it to ethics, that anyone who's violating and sharing is actually breaching an agreement. So if others are doing it, you as an individual should stop doing it in the interest of the organization and in your own personal interest. It will not give you any heartburn and you'll remain motivated and happy.
Right. To be very honest, I think, after a point of time when people become a part of the decision-making bodies, they can probably see the reason behind it. But as an employee who didn't have the access to this kind of information that you are sharing us today, I really found that policy, didn't have any basis. But then I realized that, of course, there are also reasons which probably not visible or not understood by the people who don't have access to this information. So, yeah, thank you very much for the clarification, Dr. Verma. The next question is from Mohammad Zishan. And the question is, will working from home impact my career growth? So this is again a question, because when I'm in the office, people can see me, what I'm, how much productive I am, how much effort I'm putting in my hard work. But when I'm working from home, somehow, I have this insecurity that whether my good work is being recognized or being noticed by my superiors. So the same question probably, comes from this kind of thinking that will working from home impact my career growth? Over to you, Dr. Verma, please.
Yeah. So you rightly said, when you are seen, people keep you in mind. And when you are not seen, you are likely to be forgotten. But that is a basic philosophy. Today, COVID-19 has been unprecedented. It has given new vistas for new opinions, new avenues. And it needs a mindset change for the people, for the organization. Today, does everybody need to go to office? Maybe not. So if you are in a manufacturing setup, or you are in an IT setup, or you are in an organization which can afford a segment to work from home, you will not be missed out because you are part of that group and the segment, and this is legislated by the organization. We have heard a lot of IT companies are planning for 75% of the workforce to operate from home. They're going to save on the cost. They're going to have different facilities. And the best combination would be that you go for work a few days, work from home a few days, have that kind of a flexibility. Organizations can decide on this kind of flexibility and segmentation of employees for which employee is applicable, for which employee is not applicable. So that is how it's going to work out. COVID-19, post-COVID-19 scenario, things are bound to change because there is no guarantee that we will not have another crisis in future. So as organization, as individual, are we prepared for it? Today, see, most of the organizations are able to do the business. May not be 100%, but at least 75%. So if you can achieve 75% of your target sitting at home and getting the comfort where an employee doesn't need to travel like in Mumbai, or is able to spend more time with his family, is it not a very good option? So somewhere employee also has to look for his own work-life balance. If somebody gets a little edge by being every day in an office and you are going to work from your comfort of your home, sitting with your family, not traveling for long hours, and you are able to achieve 80 to 90% of what your colleague has been able to achieve, it's your call whether you like to maintain this work-life balance. But per se, if I have to look at my response, no, it should not affect negatively.
So the next question, Dr. Verma, to you is from Rajiv Puri. And the question is, why organizations in India don't allow employees to take sabbatical, say 5 or 6 months, and come back and join? I have seen so many people while I was abroad, and I've seen people have this facilities, in their organization where they can take sabbatical. They go for a world tour for 5-6 months, go there, do something, and then come back and again join their job. The question from Rajiv is why organizations in India don't allow such facilities to its employees. Over to you, Dr. Verma, please.
Yeah. So what Rajiv is saying, sabbatical could be a sabbatical for higher education. It could be for maternity leave. It could be for travel. It could be for world tour, all kind of sabbatical, where you could get full salary or a portion of it, the way it's agreed upon. In India, a lot of organizations give sabbatical for higher education.
Yes.
Right. Organizations I have worked for, Larsen & Toubro, Reliance, SCL Technologies, Tata Group, all them give sabbatical for higher education, and you come back. I remember L&T used to sponsor even and pay the entire fees for the candidate who wanted to do MTech from IITs. So that's where. So sabbatical is there. Smaller organizations may not be doing it, maybe because of following reasons. Firstly, it's a financial factor. It costs money because the employee is not with you. You're going to pay salary. In case you're going to pay fees, etc., that could be a problem. Second, you may not have so much of a manpower, because if one person goes, you may not have a substitute, or the culture of multitasking may not be there. So it could be a resource constraint for other organizations. Third, again, we are a huge population, enough of manpower available. So if someone wants to go for a holiday for a year on sabbatical, what will the organization say? Okay, thank you very much. Move out, and I will take somebody else, and I'll take somebody else and recruit it. Right. And also it depends on the policy. Now, we have a maternity leave policy given by the government. Organizations have to abide by it. Tomorrow, you have a policy on sabbatical for a travel coming by the regulations or by the government. Perhaps organization will align to it. So that's the reason what comes to my mind. And there could be some more. We can always explore and discuss that.
Yeah. But you talked about for higher studies.
Yeah.
What about, as I mentioned, the guy probably mentioned, Rajiv probably thought about world tour, which is very, very common when you go abroad. You see that people, especially the younger ones, they move from one continent to another, and then after 1 year get back to their where they originally came from, and get back to their the same position or probably whatever, same organization. They have that provision in that organization. Do you see that's happening? I mean, of course, education is fine, but what about that one?
See, right now it's not there. I see it as a culture issue. In Western developed countries, especially Germany, you look at US, it's a part of the culture, and organizations always value that.
Right.
Somehow in India, this kind of a culture has not come in. but we are also rapidly changing. I'm sure times to come, you will have similar culture coming in, and we have progressive organizations, multinationals working here also. So those facilities may come in. So, to Rajiv, I will just say, it's a matter of time.
Right.
You may be there in a right fit organization which give you sabbatical for such things. Why not?
Okay, so that gives a lot of optimism to people like Rajiv. So thank you very much, Dr. Verma. The next question is from Ronnie Suleiman. His question is, what makes an entrepreneur different from an employee doing 9-to-5 job? Over to you, Dr. Verma.
Okay. Entrepreneur and an employee with a 9-to-5 job.
That's the one, yes.
Okay. So I can just say low risk, low reward category where the employee fits in, and high risk, high reward where the entrepreneur fits in. Entrepreneur is one who has a vision, has a mission, and he will create a path. An employee looks forward to instructions to follow the path, to set up the goals. Entrepreneur will be the one who takes high risk, and he will be able to, he will not follow any timing. For him, this is not 9-to-5. For an employee, it will be punching off 9-to-5. For an entrepreneur, it could be 10 o'clock, but he may continue till 10 o'clock at night because he has that ownership mindset. He wants results. An employee gets paid based on the performance, on the output. An entrepreneur gets paid based on the results because he has to prove, he has to showcase. He is responsible to his shareholders or the people or his board. So, apart from the ownership mindset and the risk-taking ability and having a vision, having a mission, etc., it's the level of motivation and the passion of an entrepreneur, which may not be in the similar state for an employee. I don't say there are employees who are very passionate about their job, about the work, and the organizations really value them. So they are a kind of entrepreneur within the organization. But typical entrepreneur, for him, he is absolutely at a different level. And he looks forward to creating an example, setting a place for himself in the society, and achieving certain goals and targets, which typically an employee may not be looking at. So that's the typical difference I see between the two.
Right, absolutely. Okay, the next question, which is the 9th one, is from Abhijit Burman. His question is, how the training sessions for the corporate employees going to change in post-COVID situation? Very imperative question. How the training sessions for the corporate employees going to change in post-COVID situation? Over to you, Dr. Verma.
Okay. See, in the current COVID situation, everybody has gone digital. So the digital contents have been created by way of e-learning, by way of smaller courses, bite-sized learning. A lot of nomenclatures have been given. It's a kind of a self-learning which employees are doing, own-paced learning, but it is not interactive.
Right.
It is one way. And organizations which are little innovative, like what we have done, we have aligned it to a discussion cafe. So first you do it online, and then all 25, 30 people who have done it, I'll get you on a virtual tour, have a discussion cafe virtually, and then we will connect.
Right.
And maybe we will share the learning with each other. Second is you have lots of online quizzes. You have virtual instructor-led trainings. You have a lot of video shares. You have simulations, which is virtual. Virtual is a good platform, but post-COVID, can we only do virtual? My answer will be no. We have to go back to the classroom, and we have to go for a right blend.
Right.
You could reduce the weightage on the classroom training from 70% or 60% we had, bring it down to below 50%, make it 40%, but go for a combination. That combination, right blend, gives you right cocktail. And that's what is required here. Learning agility of people, everybody may not be very comfortable learning on their computers.
Right.
And an interactive session, some people may receive much more. And a person is able to have a dialogue. In a self-paced learning or in digital content, you are basically just reading something. So my way of looking at it, a combination is going to work out better for us. And this has to be clubbed with on-the-job learning. So typical learning philosophy, I see increase in the digital content usage, but definitely not elimination of a classroom.
10th question. It has come from Saurav Kalra. Now, Saurav's question is, what are the two lessons employees must learn from the current COVID crisis, and how would they prepare themselves to deal with this kind of situations better in the future? That was from Saurav Kalra, and over to you, Dr. Verma, please.
So, Saurav, I'll put it, financial planning and risk are very important. Employees who plan their finances pretty well and who are able to align to risk, mitigate risk, would have been more comfortable in this COVID-19 times when there are salary cuts, unprecedented salary cuts, and loss of other benefits, right? You wouldn't have been left high and dry. People have lost jobs. But let's say you have created a kind of a repository with you, or you have earmarked a good amount of fund which can sustain you during COVID times, and post-COVID you can look forward to a job, you are more comfortable. So that's a key learning for most of the employees, that what we earn, we should not spend. We must be wise in saving at least 30%, if not more. And this, we should earmark a fund for such crisis, which can be the future also. We can have such crisis, and we need to cater for it, right? Because all the money which we have spent in branded clothing, everything top end, is it required? Do evaluate. It is a time to take, a stock, introspect, and see, have your expenditure pattern been right? Do you need to really modify? Perhaps you will get the response yourself. And second is, hope always works pretty good. So optimism or right attitude that this is not the end. Yeah. So if you're looking at a road and you feel you're close to the end, maybe just a turn. So even if you have lost a job or you have got a lot of salary cuts, it's all temporary. I'm sure you will be able to overcome the situation and you will come out with flying colors.
True.
So you have the right attitude and do a good risk assessment and financial planning, things will work out. That has been my key learning for COVID.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, the next question is from Rishi Kundan. Do you believe good educational track record makes a good employee? If not, why companies focus so much on IITs and IIMs during recruitment?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Rishi. Unfortunately, he's not there to give a response.
Yeah.
Does Rishi wear branded clothing? So I'm sure he will say yes. He must be wearing branded shoes, branded shirtings, branded trousers, everything branded. Right. Having a nice car, everything anybody can dream of. So when clothes are available at much cheaper cost, why do we go for expensive branded clothes? It's because we have a trust in the brand, a trust on the quality, right? If you look at IITs and IIMs, they pick up the best at the time of common entrance. They churn them. They develop their analytical skills, excellent knowledge ware, and these people come out as a good product, a good brand. Some organizations pick them up because they want to value the brand they develop. Is everybody doing it? No, I'll give you share certain examples here. So yes, but the question is, do they make good employees? I said these brands will make good entry-level employees because of the brand, of the value, because they are definitely good. That's the reason they have come out. They have had an excellent curriculum. They were above average. They have had good, rigorous training. So they are good. They are polished. Uncut diamond has got polished, and the market will sees real value for them. Same guys, when they come to a corporate, does everybody become a CEO? May not be. Are non-IITians and non-IIMs people reaching the level of CEO? Yes. Satya Nadella, Manipal, not an IITian. A.M. Nayak, L&T chairman, whom I knew and whom when I worked with him, I've interacted with him, is just an engineer from a basic college. Having headed the ECC training and development, I can tell you, when we recruited engineers from tier 2 and tier 3 colleges. First, we wanted them to stay with us for longer duration. We didn't want attrition. Second, we developed those skills required for the organization. And third is we gained their loyalty and we had the right skill set with them. That is how these people grow up to be the leaders and the top business leaders. So it is not correct to say that every IITian and IIM guy becomes a good employee in the long run. Because long run, it will be based on your knowledge, skill, and attitude. You may have the right knowledge from IIM and IIT, but do you have the right skilling? And have you upskilled yourself? Have you reskilled yourself? And then attitude is a common thing. It is quite possible a person from a normal engineering college may have these qualities. He have developed himself and he may reach at much higher level vis-a-vis an IITian or an IIM guy.
I mean, while you are answering this question, Dr. Verma, my mind is was also working. So it sort of came up with this question, in the corporate world, you have this brandings, which you just mentioned, IIT, IIMs. So was there any branding while getting into Army? Of course, NDA is one such institution, but generally, is there a branding? Is there a brand for Army positions as well?
Yes, a very, very interesting question. And let me tell you ours. So right. Army, there's a brand. They call it XNDA.
Yes.
And XNDA is a brand.
Okay.
Similarly, when you graduate,
right.
So there is a IMA and there is a OTS. So they call short service. OTS is a short service, right. And IMA is a direct entry. All three are different segments. In your Army, in my NDA, I still know the names of every of my batchmate of NDA. So I'm from Foxtrot Squadron of 62 NDA course. So entire batch, and we are in touch even now, after 40 years. So that is a kind of a close association, because every camp we have done together, every mountain we have climbed together, there has been a camaraderie and association.
Absolutely.
So there is a brand. NDA is a brand in Army.
True.
Yes.
The question number 12. Yeah, again related to your background, Army background. How was it coping up with corporate environment, having come from Army in the initial days? Which part of it was easy and which part of it was difficult? Over to you, Dr. Verma.
Okay, very interesting. Let me reflect. 17 years ago, when I picked up my first job, way of functioning was quite difficult. It was a challenge. In Army, we worked in a disciplined environment. There were instruction, orders given, you had a compliance, you had a discussion, you had good fun, you had a party, and it was hard work and a party, a disciplined environment. Now, when you came to corporate, you found the D missing. So I won't call it as totally indiscipline, but things like punctuality, things like starting of meetings in time, waiting for the bosses, collective waste of time, are some of the features I could see that. And it was a challenge to adopt it. It is still a challenge. I just wanted to share with you, I'm from a training background. I'm a facilitator. So when I moved in 17 years ago, this is one area of HR I moved in and I specialized, and I have been facilitating over a period of time. So in Army, if I took a class with my subordinates, they will be there in time. Everything will go the way it is planned. Questions will be asked, and everybody will be attentive, at least focus. Now here, my own experience has been that if a class has to start at 9:30, people will start trickling in by 9:30, 35, and finally, you're lucky if you can start at 10. They will be visiting, clock watching for tea break, for lunch break, and all those things. People looking at WhatsApp messages. My boss is calling. Often in training we hear my boss has come. Everything is so important, and they will drop bricks like the topmost chairman of the company is calling him. In his entire life, he may not have seen the face, but when he's in the class, he gets a direct call from a chairman or somebody from the chairman's office. So that's the kind of bricks employees drop. So it took me some time to manage this, and things have been put in order based on our values, based on our association, and based off your own assertiveness, that things have worked out and things have got streamlined. So this is one area I found as the biggest challenge. Now, what was nice was that collaborative working in teams, because I worked in teams earlier, small teams, bigger teams. So the moment it came to corporate, it was team functioning, team synergy, which was good. So you could discuss freely, give your opinion, people listen to it, and you could collaborate. So that was something which I moved into straight away. That was a high degree of adaptability. So these two were extreme, and rest where everything was in between them.
Right. But you are now totally got adapted to this new environment, right? In 17 years is long enough time to get cooked up, yeah? So yes, now no complaints.
No complaints. In fact, I've been able to correct a few things, like bringing the kind of a discipline, especially in training, that when you come for training, remain focused, otherwise do not come. I tell the participant that if you have some work is more important, because we also value the business. If business is more important, do not come. If you can spare a day or spare a half a day and come here, but when you come here, take value from the training.
I mean, just one on a lighter note, do your colleagues adapted to your way of working, or you adapted to their way of working, coming at trickling in at 9:30 and then watching WhatsApp at 9:35? And how is that situation?
Yeah, so they have aligned pretty well. In fact, okay. We have had meetings also starting time, also aligns to the values.
Right.
And it is there. It took some time, but when people realize the value in what you say, because my simple question was, why a collective waste of time? Right. Because of 5 participants, why other 20 should suffer who are there in time? So if you want to start at 10, let's make it a time as a 10.
True.
Right. Do your work in the beginning and then come for a training. So we are fine with that.
So the last question, which is from Ankit San. Ankit San is asking role of HR through your unique experience. What would be your reply to that? He's just asked role of HR through your unique experience. How do you see HR through your experience? Over to you, Dr. Verma.
Yeah, so I see HR as an important bridge between an employee and a leader.
Mm-hmm.
A bridge which facilitates communication. It helps in building a relationship. Mm-hmm. It creates a congenial environment for the employee when a new employee joins in. HR does hand-holding, supports them. So a lot of positives. And we need a functioning of an HR. It helps employee develop based on the learning and development, resources within the organization, fast tracking of an employee. So everything is done by the HR to support an employee. But I have noticed certain gaps, and perhaps I like to advise to my HR colleagues to have certain corrective steps. And the first thing I like to say is empathy, or having the empathy for an employee, getting the shoes of the employee. That is absolutely essential to understand problem. You cannot have a common template for everyone. And of course, we always tell leader needs to be humble. So even an HR person needs to have humility. dealing with employees, have more interaction with employees, especially face-to-face, because the connect and relationship is much better, and people are able to develop and have trust in employees. So these are some of the things which HR does, and have a more human approach to human beings. You will find things will better, and employee will value HR and trust them. Somewhere the trust is also getting eroded over a period of time because of lack of connectivity. So that is one area which needs to be addressed.
So, I mean, I probably would have liked to talk to you on these subjects for hours, but I know we are almost, close to our stipulated time of 1 hour. So the viewers, I'm sure Dr. Verma's answers have given you clarity, provided solutions to your challenges, and cleared all your doubts. Now, those of you who have missed the interview from the beginning can watch the entire interview, the full interview, on my YouTube channel, Kaushik Majumder, The Process Pro, and I will upload the recordings of this interview by tomorrow end of day. Now, viewers, you know the drill. Please go ahead, hit the like and share buttons, and for regular updates, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon for any comments or suggestions. And of course, if you have any questions that you want to ask the icons, please use the comment section. Now, time for the special gift for the standout question of the week. So, Dr. Verma, I would request you for a huge favor, which is, would you please tell us one question that you found either most innovative or relevant or interesting? One question you found most innovative, relevant, or interesting in today's lot, please.
Well, I found most of them very relevant, and if you have to give me a choice to pick up one,
yeah,
I will put it the one on what Army can pick up from corporate, and what could corporate pick up from Army.
Wow.
Those two qualities we talked about, their relevance, and how we are going to benefit, from these qualities. That I felt will be the most relevant.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the question is asked by Rajneesh. So, Rajneesh, congratulations. The amazing surprise gift would reach you by tomorrow end of day. Yeah, you are going to get that. And thank you very much, Dr. Verma, for your time and addressing the concerns of the working professionals and viewers. I'm sure all the viewers got immensely benefited from your solutions and suggestions. So, since you have come close to the today's episode, so any closing comments, please, Dr. Verma?
Kaushik, I must just say, excellent initiative, and you gave me also a platform to touch base. I felt very nice going through the questions, looking at my own response. I may not be 100% meeting the requirement of the participants, but the fact remains I made an endeavor, and I'm sure it would have helped the people. That is how we could collaborate, help each other, and grow together. And especially in this COVID-19 pandemic time, this is a fantastic initiative. So I thank you, and really nice of you to have organized this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Verma. So, viewers, with this, we have come to the end of today's episode. Looking forward to see you in the next episode of Ask the Icon, with another icon, with another interesting perspective and lots of clarity. Till then, with the icon, Dr. Sanjay Verma, this is Kaushik Majumder, wishing you a good weekend ahead. Take care of yourself, and thank you for watching Ask the Icon. And before you go, please, please, please keep your questions coming. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Thank you. Yeah, so I have stopped the live streaming. So we are not Facebook anymore. So how do you think it went?
It was nice. I really liked the thing, the questions.
Yes.
And
yes.